the Las Vegas alien video footage. Have you guys seen this? You know what I'm talking about? If you haven't, link in the description below to the New York Post article that discusses it into great detail. But thanks for watching the program. I really appreciate it. I'm just a guy named Albert who sits in front of a phone and does 4 videos a day talking about nothing. So if you got anything else better to do, go do those things, because right now we're about to talk about some fringe stuff in a very short period of time, of course, and it all relates to factual sort of stuff. And so last month there was a number of different residents around a number of different states here in the good old Southwest, where I'm at, right? And anyways, these people witnessed more or less the same thing, and yeah, we're talking about aliens. Well, at the very least, we're talking about human beings wearing cloaking devices, which essentially, again, is just as entirely possible as is extraterrestrials coming down to say what's up finally, right? And so, I think talking about aliens, and aliens that are extraterrestrial in nature, right? In terms of like, the concept of them and stuff. Hey, listen, in 2024, I think it's fair to say that I am one of the overwhelming majority of Americans who believe in extraterrestrial life, right? And so there's that out of the way. Where's my bias and my objection, or where's my bias coming from in terms of what kind of objections do I hold, giving you this speech here, telling you about the alien story, is that, yeah, I guess, I'll be open and honest in that I'm just one of many millions of people who believe in the idea that there are extraterrestrials. Now, that's a belief, right? And we'll talk about that in a second, just a little bit more, but I want to talk about the cloaking device argument here, and that, there's people on YouTube, including some videos that I recently saw where, cloaking devices are real. They're a real thing. Maybe they're not as common as Pringles, but they are definitely something that is out there and that people can use, I mean, I guess they could use it for bad stuff. Not like you'd ever know, though, unless maybe, you eventually seen a person in a way wearing a cloaking device. But regardless, the fact that we're actually, having the conversation and it's available so that it's not like suppressed, and that this isn't like, early mid 20th century Roswell, incident or whatever. This is sort of like, as anything is now and or forevermore, very sensitive, in that the government should probably just come out and say that, extraterrestrials exist. Now, that is going back to that whole belief system thing, right? And that, or the whole belief, I don't know if it's a system, in that, there's other life out there, as it would be extraterrestrial, as opposed to terrestrial beings like us, from this planet, stationary, so far as we know, not off the planet and doing stuff, right? But again, I think the world is a lot crazier in terms of its authenticity than a lot of us are, privileged to know. And I think that at some point, hopefully not too far into the future, there might actually be some progress with openly discussing and implementing policies and procedures that are publicly known and agreed upon, so that in the event, stuff does get Battlefield Los Angeles, there's some, knowledge amongst the general populace, as well as those who are, again, privileged enough to know these kinds of things or whatever. But fringe or not, definitely check out these videos. There's really nothing fringe about them. I mean, the articles in the New York Post, which is a pretty reliable source as it concerns the consumption of mass media, and it's arguably, honest way of reporting most news in that way. And so, again, check out some of these things. I think it's if anything, a fun conversation at the dinner table to have. And again, I think of, as a middle aged person, and this is what I'll leave you with, I think of two different situations that occur at the dinner table, right? Either I'm hanging out with like old people, or something, and like no one wants to talk about like future or contemporary things of this nature, right? I mean, who kind of does, I guess, when you're a certain age. However, my question then is, what kind of conversations do we have as middle-aged folks with our children, and their friends around the dinner table, and how that corresponds to, how they could be influenced moving forward, and hopefully, regardless of what decision you make in terms of that kind of situation, sitting with your own children, as my peer, as a millennial, as somebody just a little bit older, maybe even younger, it's pretty, I guess, fair to open it up as a debate in terms of whether or not these things are even talked about, or much less given any kind of credit. And again, I think that food for thought. It's always nice to be prepared instead of, not, in terms of the integration of impactful things that change everyone's lives, And so I think that, again, when we look at it this way, and when we know that our interests are all pretty much the same in that we like to, essentially at least kind of know more or less what's going on in the bigger world around us. And so, yeah, I guess I believe in aliens. Does that make me, like any type of way or whatever? I think not. Again, I'm one of many millions of people who feel like this. So I guess then we're all kind of a little off in that way. But check out these videos. They're really, again, at least in the end, something that, can definitely be pontificated amongst people.